With the NFL draft right around the corner, I want to do a video on every NFL team's worst first round pick since 2010. And I will be doing this in alphabetical order, so we're going to start with the Arizona Cardinals.
The Arizona Cardinals select Josh Rosen.
Listen, the Josh Rosen we saw in the NFL was not the Josh Rosen we saw in college. At UCLA, Rosen put up 9,000 yards and 59 touchdowns in just his 3 seasons there. He will also add on multiple Pac-12 awards, and then he went into the draft where he was chosen with the 10th overall pick by the Cardinals, of course. Not too long after, Rosen would make the quote of his life.
There were 9 mistakes made ahead of me.
That quote was alluding to the 9 players drafted ahead of Josh Rosen, and well, that quote aged like milk. Rosen threw for 2,200 yards, 11 touchdowns, 14 interceptions in his rookie season, but he was so bad that they got the #1 pick. They drafted Kyler Murray and traded Rosen to the Dolphins. On the Dolphins, he didn't do much either. He had 5 interceptions and 1 touchdown in his lone season there. He played another season in Atlanta, didn't do nothing there, and the last time we saw him on the roster was in 2022 with Minnesota. And the latest I can find from Rosen was that he was enrolled in a school at the University of Pennsylvania.
Draft. The Atlanta Falcons select Takkarist McKinley.
Takk McKinley makes this list for the Atlanta Falcons as he had a really good college career. As his last season, he recorded 10 sacks and made first team all Pac-12. Then he entered the draft where he was picked in the first round for the 26th overall pick by the Falcons. Now, after recovering from a torn labrum before the season started, he would play all 16 games, recording 20 tackles, 6 sacks. That was 4th among rookies and 2nd on his team behind Adrian Claiborne. Of course, the next season, McKinley got better. He had 22 tackles and he had 7 sacks, leading the team. Now, in 2019, his numbers were up and down. He had 29 tackles, but his numbers dropped in sacks from 7 to 3.5. And on top of that, he was placed on IR after week 15. In the 2020 season, McKinley publicly requested a trade, but it was then revealed that he was probably requesting a trade back in 2019, and after 4 games, they would then waive him. He was soon picked up by the Raiders though, but he wouldn't play a game there, and then in the offseason, he would sign a 1-year contract with the Cleveland Browns. After McKinley's 1 year with the Browns, he would then sign to the practice squad of the Titans, Rams, Cowboys, and Jets, and as recently as I can find, he was released by the Jets in 2024. And who knows if he'll be picked up again by another team this offseason.
The Baltimore Ravens select Breshad Perriman.
While Breshad Perriman was a productive receiver in college at UCF, it is really his combine workouts that boosted his draft stock. See, while at UCF, he caught 2,200 yards, 16 touchdowns, and that put his name on draft boards, but in the combine, he ran a 4.26 40, which really turned the head of many scouts. So the Ravens decided to take a chance on Perriman with the 26th overall pick. Now, there was a setback after he got drafted because he suffered an injury and wasn't able to play his rookie year. But the next season, Perriman would make his NFL debut against the Bills where he had 1 reception for 35 yards. And to end that season, he had 499 receiving yards and 3 touchdowns. Despite this solid year, the next season he only had 77 receiving yards, and the Ravens refused to pick up his 5th-year option. But after being released by the Ravens, picked up by the Redskins, then released by them as well, he was then signed by the Browns where he spent a year there, and then he went to the Buccaneers where he had a career year there. On the Bucs, Perriman had 645 receiving yards and 6 touchdowns, and then after that he went to the Jets where he had 505 receiving yards and 3 touchdowns. Then in 2021, Perriman was signed back with the Bucs, and that was the last time we seen him on the NFL field.
The Buffalo Bills select Kaiir Elam.
Kaiir Elam might be the most recent draft pick mentioned in this video. After Elam had a solid college career where he earned freshman All-SEC team and second team All-SEC, he then decided to enter the draft where the Bills chose him with the 23rd overall pick. And this was a Bills team that needed a future star corner, so they thought Elam was going to be that player. And his rookie season was okay. He played 13 games, started 6 games, he had 4 pass deflections and 2 interceptions. He wasn't able to build on in his second season because he was placed on IR, only played 3 games, but he was activated for the playoffs. This past season was his last with the Bills. He played in 13 games, and after the season, just a couple weeks ago, he was traded to the Cowboys.
The Carolina Panthers select Vernon Butler.
When the Carolina Panthers decided to pick Vernon Butler with the 30th overall pick in the first round, he became the highest Louisiana Tech Bulldog picked since Troy Edwards in 1999. Now, Butler spent 4 years with the Panthers where he wasn't the greatest player, but he wasn't bad. I mean, he had 3 forced fumbles, 8 sacks, and 10 tackles for loss in those 4 seasons. He wouldn't be signed, and it didn't help that at the end of his last season with the Panthers, he ended up punching Jack Doyle and getting kicked out the game. He would then sign a 2-year contract with the Bills, and those 2 years were the last seasons we saw of him in the NFL.
The Chicago Bears select Kevin White.
I know some people are going to say Mr. Trubisky is the Bears' worst first-round pick. No, it's Kevin White. At least Mr. Trubisky showed some promise and looked good at one point. Kevin White never did that. I mean, Kevin White was cool in college. He was first-team All-American. He was first-team All-Big 12. He put up some solid numbers, but nothing crazy, but he was still picked 7th overall. Now, it all wasn't White's fault, though. Before his rookie season, he would suffer a shin injury that would put him on the PUP list, and then he would be ruled out for his whole rookie season. It didn't help that the next season he played 4 games, and then he fractured his fibula and was placed on IR. The very next season, he suffered a shoulder blade injury, which would keep him out a couple weeks also. White played one more season with the Bears, then after that he played for the Cardinals, 49ers, and Saints, and then his football career would be ended.
The Cincinnati Bengals select John Ross.
John Ross in college was good, but he's mostly known now for breaking the combine record for the 40-yard dash until Xavier Worthy broke it last year? Now, John Ross was already supposed to be a first-round pick, as that was his projection, but of course with the 40 time being so great, it boosted his draft stock. Although after being selected by the Bengals and making it to the NFL, Ross could not live up to the expectations of being the 9th overall pick. Sadly, during his rookie season, he would disappoint. He had no receiving stats, and he only had 1 touch during the season, and that was on a run where he ended up fumbling. See, during his rookie season, Ross only played 3 games, started 1 game. That was his only touch of the season, and that would basically be his career as a Bengal. Injuries would basically be the story of his career, as he played 3 games his rookie season, 13 games his second season, 8 games, and then 3 games, and that basically ended his tenure as a Bengal. He had a season with the Giants, and then after that he had a season with the Eagles. Never really did anything with those 2 teams either. You'll probably see him on somebody's practice squad this offseason, and also I'm surprised nobody ever tried to use him on special teams.
The Cleveland Browns select Trent Richardson.
The Browns had a long list of names you could have chose. I chose Trent Richardson. It came down to Richardson or Manziel. I decided on Richardson because he was the number 3 overall pick. It's actually crazy looking back on this pick because he's a running back being chosen with the number 3 overall pick, and now a running back will never be chosen with the number 3 overall pick. His career started off pretty solid. Richardson had 950 yards and 11 rushing touchdowns, but 2 games into a sophomore season, he would then be traded to the Colts. After his 2nd and 3rd season in the league, he would be out of the league. Now, if you don't know, a big reason why he was out of the league so early was due to his poor vision, and there's probably videos on YouTube you can find talking about it. He spent some time in the CFL and AAF, but now he's a running backs coach at Hoover High School in Hoover, Alabama.
The Dallas Cowboys select Taco Charlton.
With the 20th overall pick in the draft, everybody knew the Cowboys needed defense, so instead of going TJ Watt, they decided to go Taco Charlton. Early on, Charlton showed a little bit of flashes. His first season, he had 19 total tackles. In just 16 games, he also had 1 forced fumble and 3 sacks. Now, in the offseason, going into his 2nd year, the media tried to create a narrative that he was falling out of favor with the defensive coaching staff, but that simply wasn't the case, as he started the first 7 games of the season. But after starting the first 7 games, in the 8th game of the season, he would get hurt against the Titans, and that would limit the rest of his playing time, as he only played 27 more snaps. And after a couple injuries in the offseason, it looked like he was going to start the next season as well, but he was a healthy scratch, and then he tweeted out "free me," and after that he got released. Charlton got picked up by the Dolphins. He led them in sacks during the season with 5, but he never got a second contract with them. After that he got picked up by a couple teams, but it was just for the practice squad, and now he's in the UFL where he just won a championship.
Denver Broncos select Tim Tebow, quarterback, Florida.
Now, with Tim Tebow for the Broncos, he got them to the playoffs, so I can see your argument to why he shouldn't be on here. Now, Tebow is one of the best, if not the best, college football quarterback of all time. But in the NFL, he wasn't projected to be all that great. Tebow's first season in the NFL, he didn't really do much, started 3 games, but the next season is where he made a crazy impact, as the Broncos started out 1-3, and they decided to bench Kyle Orton for Tebow. When Tebow got moved to the starter, the Broncos went 7-4, and they had 4 come from behind wins. Tebow led the Broncos to the playoffs. In the wildcard game, they played the Pittsburgh Steelers, where Tebow connected to Demaryius Thomas for the game-winning touchdown in overtime. Tebow and the Broncos will lose in the divisional round to the Patriots. Actually, they would get blown out if I'm not mistaken, but you just have to be around for this season. I mean, Tebow was everywhere. He had the world Tebowing. He was like a fan favorite. In the offseason, though, the Broncos decided to sign Peyton Manning, and Tebow would get traded to the Jets, and he would play just 12 more games in the NFL. He would get signed by a couple more teams, but wouldn't play any games. They even tried to move his position to tight end, and after being cut by the Jaguars in 2021, he would then retire and become an analyst on ESPN.
The Detroit Lions select Jeff Okudah.
The Detroit Lions decided to pick Jeff Okudah with the 3rd overall pick in the 2020 NFL draft, and it made sense because in college, he was the best DB on one of the best defenses, he was a unanimous All-American, and he was first team All-Big 10. Okudah's first 2 years were shook up by injury. Before he started his rookie season, he dealt with a hamstring injury, and then after playing 9 games, he dealt with a core muscle injury, and then going into his second season, just 1 game in, he tore his Achilles tendon. Okudah did play 15 games in 2022, having 7 pass deflections and 1 interception, but the Lions decided that he was not worth keeping, so they traded him to Atlanta, where there he wasn't really that good either, so they didn't re-sign him either after the season. Last offseason, he signed a 1-year contract with the Houston Texans, where he only played 6 games, and just recently he signed with the Minnesota Vikings, and this might be one of his last stops in the NFL possibly.
Green Bay Packers select Derek Sherrod.
Fresh off a Super Bowl win, the Green Bay Packers decided to elect Derek Sherrod to bolster up their offensive line. In college, Sherrod was an All-American and he made the All-SEC team twice, but in the NFL, his career was riddled by injuries. The first injury happened on December 18th of 2011, where linebacker Tampa Hall rolled onto his leg, and this caused Sherrod to break his leg, and he would miss the rest of the season and the entire 2012 season. To start the 2013 season, Sherrod was placed on the PUP list, and he wouldn't get activated until November 5th of 2013, and then November 3rd of 2014, he would be waived. Sherrod would sign with the Chiefs, but they decided to cut him too, and that would end his NFL career.
The Houston Texans select Kenyon Green, guard, Texas A&M.
Kenyon Green's career so far has been a disappointment. In his rookie season, his PFF grade was 37.7, which ranked 77th out of 77 for guards. He allowed 47 quarterback pressures, 12 quarterback hits, 4 sacks, and he committed 12 penalties. He was placed on injury reserve before the 2023 season. Even though he got activated before the season was over, he still never played a game. Just this past season, Green played in 12 games, started 9 of those games, but after being underwhelming, the Texans then decided to trade him to the Eagles in the offseason. Maybe with a change of scenery, Green could turn his career around.
Indianapolis Colts select Anthony Richardson.
Coming out of Florida, Anthony Richardson was seen as the biggest boom bust prospect in the 2023 NFL draft. He was one of those prospects where if you put it all together, he could be like a Hall of Famer, one of the best quarterbacks in the league, or if you don't, well, you was probably gonna be drafting that position again in a couple of drafts. In Richardson's first year, he looked like he was more boom than bust. He had 577 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. The only downside is that he only played 4 games due to injury. But this last season, he looked more bust than boom because he had 1,800 passing yards, 8 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. His completion percentage dropped from 59 to 47. He fumbled 9 times with 3 of those fumbles. He got benched eventually for Joe Flacco, but he came back in for Joe Flacco also because Flacco was playing terrible. And this upcoming season is Richardson's last chance to prove himself to be the Colts' future quarterback.
Jacksonville Jaguars select C.J. Henderson.
In 2020, with the 9th overall pick, the Jaguars decided to take C.J. Henderson. Henderson's rookie season was okay. He had 6 pass deflections, 1 interception. He only played 8 games because he was placed on injured reserve. In 2021, just 2 games in, he was traded to the Panthers, where he spent 3 seasons afterwards. In his 3 seasons with the Panthers, Henderson totaled 10 pass deflections and 2 interceptions. Then last offseason, he signed with the Texans, but he was released before the season started. The Steelers ended up picking him up, and he spent the rest of the season with them, and I couldn't find anywhere to say that he was going to spend next season with the Steelers.
The Kansas City Chiefs select Jonathan Baldwin.
The Chiefs decided to take Jonathan Baldwin with the 26th overall pick in the 2011 NFL Draft, and well, his career was only 3 years. Baldwin spent 2 of those 3 years in Kansas City, where he had 579 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns. Kansas City decided to trade Baldwin to the 49ers for A.J. Jenkins, and in San Francisco, he only played 7 games, and then after that, he went to the Lions where they waived him, and that would end his NFL career.
The Las Vegas Raiders select Alex Leatherwood.
Listen, I never got why the Raiders drafted Alex Leatherwood with the 17th overall pick. Leatherwood was really overrated in college. He wasn't all that great, and you know what happened when he got to the NFL? He played on the Raiders for a season, and then he got cut. Leatherwood was so bad, they tried to change him from tackle to guard, and it still didn't work out. He signed with the Bears, got cut from there, signed with the Browns, then get another contract, then signed with the Chargers, and got cut also. At some point during this offseason, he'll get signed again, and he'll probably get cut again.
The Los Angeles Chargers select Kenneth Murray.
The Chargers decided to take Kenneth Murray with the 23rd overall pick in the 2020 NFL Draft, and honestly, coming out of Oklahoma, I thought he was going to be way better. On the stat sheet, Murray's numbers look good. He had 2 seasons with the Chargers with 107 tackles and a couple pass deflections. But in reality, Murray struggled at making solo tackles, and he struggled in pass coverage, and he was pretty underwhelming for his 4 years on the Chargers. After those 4 years, the Chargers didn't re-sign him. He signed a 2-year contract with the Titans, and he wasn't all that great with the Titans either. So in the offseason, they decided to package him up and ship him off to Dallas. Murray is just one of them players that look better on the stat sheet than they do in person.
The St. Louis Rams select Greg Robinson.
In the 2014 draft, the Rams had 2 first-round picks, one being Aaron Donald, but with the second overall pick, they chose Greg Robinson. Now, Robinson was a good run blocker, but he wasn't polished as a pass blocker. He also struggled with weight problems. Robinson's weight problem got so bad that he showed up 15 pounds overweight in 2016 to training camp. That led to him being inefficient on the field, as through the first 10 games, he had 12 penalties. In 2017, the Rams would sign Andrew Whitworth, and the writing was on the wall for Robinson, as they didn't pick up his 5th-year option and then he would become a free agent. Robinson signed with the Lions, then they waived him. After that, he signed with the Browns, where in week 1 of the 2019 season, he kicked Titans safety Kenny Vaccaro in the head. After that season, he never got re-signed. Then we heard from him again after he got arrested in 2020 for having 156 pounds of weed on him. Now for that, he got 5 years of probation, but in 2022, he was caught with over $120,000 worth of illegal drugs on him.
The Miami Dolphins select Deion Jordan.
With the 3rd pick in the 2013 NFL Draft, the Dolphins got Deion Jordan out of Oregon. Jordan's first year was solid. He played all 16 games, had 26 tackles, 2 sacks, but in his second year, he would get suspended after the first 4 games for using PEDs, and then he was suspended again for using PEDs once again in the same season. He was suspended a 3rd time, but this time for a full season. So in 2015 and 2016, he did not play, and then in 2017, he went to the Seahawks. Spending 2 seasons with the Seahawks, he was just an okay player. He was signed with the Raiders, but he would have to serve a 10-game suspension because he was caught taking Adderall. He spent 7 games in Oakland, then he signed with the 49ers, where he played 13 games, and after that, his career would end. Just recently, he came out and said that he didn't have his life in order when he got drafted, and he take full responsibility to why his career failed in the NFL.
The Minnesota Vikings select Laquan Treadwell.
Laquan Treadwell was seen as one of the best blocking receivers and a guy that can win 50-50 balls, but he ran a 4.65 40, so he wasn't seen as a quick guy. And Treadwell did struggle his first year, played 9 games, 15 yards. The next 2 seasons, he technically would improve as he got more yards and more touchdowns, but it didn't matter because it wasn't good enough, so after his 5th year, they decided not to keep him. Treadwell would have a career year in Jacksonville where he had 434 receiving yards and a touchdown, but it still wasn't good enough. After that season, Treadwell played for 3 more teams, with the most recent team being the Colts. My guess is he gets signed to somebody's practice squad and maybe plays eventually this upcoming season.
The New England Patriots select Dominic Easley.
Easley was by far the Patriots' worst first-round pick since 2010. Easley really didn't do much his first year, but in his second year, he was expected to step up because the Patriots lost longtime defender Vince Wilfork. Easley never stepped up though, and the Patriots decided to release him after his second year. He signed with the Rams, where he had 35 tackles, 3.5 sacks, and 2 forced fumbles. But in his second offseason with the Rams, he would tear his ACL and he'd be ruled out for an entire season. The next year, he was expected to come back, but he had another knee surgery at some point during the season, and he was placed on IR and never played another down in the NFL again.
The New Orleans Saints select Peyton Turner.
After the Saints chose Peyton Turner with the 28th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, Turner's career was kind of plagued by injuries. So far, Turner has only played in 31 out of a possible 68 games. His rookie season, he had a shoulder injury that kept him out for a lot of games. Then in 2023, he had a turf toe injury that kept him out for most of the season. 5 games, 8 games, 2 games, and then 16 games is how many games he's played each season. And right now, he only has 50 tackles and 5 sacks. Recently, Turner has signed with the Cowboys, and this will be a prove year for him, as this could be the last year he's on the NFL roster.
The New York Giants select Eric Flowers.
In 2015, the Giants selected Eric Flowers 9th overall, and really he never showed too much promise on the field. Just 3 years in the league, he already given up 169 total pressures, and he collected numerous penalties. Geoff Schwartz, NFL analyst and former teammate of Flowers, accused him of quitting on the team, having poor technique, and missing multiple blocks. The Giants eventually will release him, and then a couple years later, he actually signed with the Dolphins, where he earned a 3-year, $30 million contract. Just a little over a year after signing that contract, the Dolphins would trade him to Washington, and then Washington would then release him, and he wouldn't play in the NFL again.
The New York Jets select Zach Wilson.
In the quarterback-loaded class, Zach Wilson was chosen 2nd overall, and well, he probably shouldn't have been. Every year with the Jets, Wilson threw more interceptions than he did touchdowns, and he also never had a winning record with the Jets. After 3 years of failure, the Jets shipped Wilson off to the Broncos. Wilson never played a game in Denver, and now he's currently on the Dolphins, where he will be a backup.
The Philadelphia Eagles select Jalen Reagor.
Today, Jalen Reagor is most known for the guy that got picked before Justin Jefferson. Before that, Rager was known as a wide receiver that had really great potential, but he never really showed it, as his first year he had almost 400 yards and 1 touchdown, then his next year with the Eagles he had almost 300 yards and 2 touchdowns. And despite him looking okay in the return game, the Eagles would still release him, and then he would get picked up by the Vikings. With the Vikings, Rager had 104 receiving yards, and then he went to the Patriots the next season where he only had 138 receiving yards. In the 2024 offseason, Rager was signed with the Chargers, and despite him not playing a game last season, the Chargers still signed him last month.
The Pittsburgh Steelers select Kenny Pickett.
The Steelers were looking for their quarterback since Big Ben retired, so they decided to pick Kenny Pickett. Stat-wise, it looked like Kenny Pickett really didn't show too much. He had 2,400 passing yards and 7 touchdowns and 9 interceptions, but at the end of his rookie season, the last 2 weeks, he had 2 back-to-back game-winning drives. The following season, he had 2,000 yards, 6 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. He just wasn't good enough to prove to the Steelers that he was the future quarterback. In the offseason, the Steelers traded Pickett to the Eagles, and then he went on to play 5 games for the Eagles, win a Super Bowl with them, and the Eagles traded him to the Browns, where he have a chance to once again become a starting quarterback.
San Francisco 49ers select A.J. Jenkins.
This one's going to be short, but A.J. Jenkins was really that dude at Illinois. He was one of my favorite Illinois players. In the NFL, Jenkins just wasn't good. He had 1 target in his rookie season where he dropped a pass. In the offseason, he got traded to the Chiefs for another bust, John Baldwin. On the Chiefs, he had 17 receptions, but he never did anything with his NFL career. He signed with the Cowboys, got released by them, and that was the end of his career. I couldn't find a video for the draft pick, but the Seahawks' worst draft pick was L.J. Collier. Collier spent 4 seasons with the Seahawks where he had 5 pass deflections, 3 sacks, 6 tackles for loss, and 40 total tackles. The problem was Collier couldn't stay healthy in Seattle. He went to Arizona where he had 1 non-healthy season and 1 healthy season, and this offseason he just signed a 1-year deal with them again.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers select Vernon Hargreaves III.
Like many others on this list, Vernon Hargreaves III couldn't stay healthy. He had 1 fully healthy season, that was his rookie year, where he played 16 games. After that, he played 9 games, 1 game, and then 9 games once again. It was a similar story when he went to Houston, as he played 6 games, 16 games, and then 8 games. His last stop was in Cincinnati where he played 4 games, and overall Hargreaves' stats aren't that bad. I mean, he has 31 pass deflections and 4 interceptions.
The Tennessee Titans select Isaiah Wilson, tackle, Georgia.
I can't cover much of Isaiah Wilson's NFL career because he only played 4 snaps. Wilson went from the Titans to the Dolphins to the Giants, and he wasn't good when he played. On top of that, he was late to practices, late to team meetings, and it didn't help that he got arrested a couple times. He tried to become a rapper, he sucked at that as well, and he's not in the NFL no more, and he's not a good rapper. Who knows what he's doing now?
Well, now we have our 3rd quarterback on, and that is Dwayne Haskins.
I don't think Dwayne Haskins would have been an elite starter, but I do think his career got altered because the Commanders rushed him to be the starter. Haskins' 2 seasons in Washington, he threw for 2,800 yards, 12 touchdowns, and 14 interceptions. At the time, Dwayne Haskins was a guy that probably needed to sit a year, but Jay Gruden was on a hot seat and he wanted wins, so he decided to start Haskins. After his 2 years in Washington, Haskins ended up on the Steelers where he never played a game, and he tragically passed away in 2022 after being hit by a dump truck. And that's every NFL team's worst first-round pick since 2010. Some of these picks were bad because some players end up being injury prone, and some of these picks were bad because the players just were bad and there was some bad drafting by the GMs. But let me know what y'all agree with and disagree with down in the comment section below. And until next time, I'm out. Peace.